Where do people usually hide treasure? On deserted islands? Somewhere deep in the woods? Nope. Statistically, more treasure has been hidden inside ordinary homes than anywhere else. Subscribe, and let's see what people have been hiding. They say money doesn't fall from the sky, but Chris Wooden basically had $80,000 sitting in his yard. For 10 years, a 42-kilogram rock had been lying there before he finally discovered that it was actually a meteorite. And how did he figure it out? By watching something on Discovery, of course. So there you go. Educational TV really can make you rich. Did your grandfather leave you a rare Ford Falcon XY from the 70s? No? Mine neither. Which is unfortunate because this car isn't just a collector's dream, it's also one ridiculous investment. Someone bought it around 50 years ago for $3,800, and today it's worth around $500,000. Not bad, right? Finding $5 on the street already feels lucky, but this man somehow discovered thousands of dollars hidden beneath a public walkway. He should probably go buy a lottery ticket. This UFO-looking object, which somehow resembles Jon Snow, came crashing into a farmer's field near Puerto Tirol. The black hairy-looking object measured 1.7 meters long and turned out to be a fuel tank from a Chinese Xiaolong 3 rocket launched the previous day. Not the most successful landing, obviously. Sometimes fields in Bosnia grow more than just vegetables. They can also produce 7.57mm ammunition for a Serbian Mauser that was used as far back as World War I. Grandpa's old truck turned out to be a Kalani truck. It's such a rare futuristic tractor-trailer that there's only a handful of them left in the world. A man in an Indonesian village was just trying to find water. Instead, he uncovered a 1-meter mortar shell that had been lying there quietly for the past 80 years. The police and bomb squad came to collect it, and the homeowner wisely decided that maybe this wasn't the best place to keep digging. Can you imagine that somewhere in Ohio, there's an insanely lucky family that found a suitcase containing $23,000 in their basement? And by the way, the money dates back to 1951, when that amount would supposedly be equivalent to $3 billion today. This cheetah engine from an Aero Anson was found among scrap metal and is now heading to a British museum where it belongs. Jennifer wanted to become an archaeologist, but her dream didn't come true until she retired. That's when she found a 2-kilogram piece of obsidian in her yard. Believe, my friend, believe!
Must be dragon glass.
If honesty were a person, it would probably be Contractor Steve. While working beneath a floor, he found 12 jars filled with gold worth a total of $300,000 and gave every last one back to the homeowners. Naturally, they were shocked that their renovation had paid for itself quite this quickly. But the biggest question is still unanswered. Who hid all the gold and why? Subscribe, and we'll keep following the mystery together. It's not every day you hit the jackpot inside a wall instead of at a slot machine. This renovation paid for itself pretty quickly. What do you think the odds are of finding one of Japan's national treasures buried among the junk inside a $1,300 shack? Because that's exactly where a Japanese streamer discovered a 700-year-old katana made by the legendary swordsmith Kagemitsu. And the best part is, he had bought the house just for fun. Mischief managed. What can you find inside an old country stove besides soot? Your grandmother's family jewelry, obviously. For 7 years, a safe containing $52,000 in cash and jewelry was sitting right in this couple's yard. How, you may ask? Matthew and Maria thought it was some kind of electrical box, but when they finally opened it, they discovered that it was actually a safe stolen from their neighbors back in 2011. The couple returned everything to the stunned neighbors, saying that good karma was more than enough of a reward. Be honest, what would you have done? Small but interesting discoveries like this German buckle from a 1940s military uniform are exactly what makes you want to go out and buy a metal detector. A father and son decided to find out whether there was still any gold left in North Carolina. They searched and searched until they finally discovered a 29-meter ship. It was an early 20th century gold mining dredge that had spent more than 100 years buried beneath the forest floor. Unfortunately, there wasn't actually any gold left on it. So close. Grandma's attic can contain more than just old junk. Apparently, it can also contain a 2,000-year-old mummy. A 10-year-old boy was playing in the house when he found 3 strange boxes. Inside were a mummy, a clay death mask, and a vessel once used to store internal organs. It turned out that his grandfather had bought the unusual souvenir back from Africa 70 years earlier and then completely forgotten about it. Old age, I guess. This might be the strangest design choice I've ever seen. How and why? A 100-year-old anchor was dug up in the yard of a private home, and it turned out to be the same one stolen from the Paquoson Museum just 9 months earlier. Imagine, 2.7 meters long, 900 kilograms, and nobody saw a thing. No one saw it being stolen, and no one saw it being buried. Pure magic. Here's proof that beginner's luck is real. On their very first attempt, these treasure hunters discovered the largest hoard of Roman and Celtic coins ever found in Europe, worth $13 million. They uncovered 750 kilograms of treasure on the island of Jersey. That's more than 50,000 ancient coins dating back to the time of Julius Caesar. Archaeologists from the University of Oxford are thrilled, while every other treasure hunter is probably kicking themselves with jealousy. Did you know you can find a piece of a nuclear missile at a scrapyard? This fragment of a Titan II was thrown 400 meters during an accident in the 1980s, and somehow the warhead remained intact. I know what you're thinking, but it's not that. It's a 160-year-old artillery shell. Sometimes Grandma's stories really do contain a grain of truth. This man had grown up hearing stories about family jewelry that was buried in the yard during the war. So one day he grabbed a metal detector and decided to check. Half a day later, he had officially become the wealthy heir to an impressive family treasure. Has your grandmother ever told you anything suspiciously similar? Yesterday, there was no airplane on this street. Today, there is. And the residents of Cape Coral claim they have absolutely no idea where it came from. Hit like if you think they're lying, or leave a comment if you're on Team Magic. We've already found wells and bunkers hidden beneath houses, but this time, the new owners discovered a prison cell. Hopefully, it was just someone's extremely serious timeout room. This 300-year-old Stradivarius violin, worth $5 million, had already lived quite an eventful life before it was stolen by a street robber. Honestly, I thought objects like this came with their own security teams. Fortunately, police found the thief just 9 days later. He had dumped the instrument in an old suitcase and left it in an attic. Do you think this disaster of a criminal had even the slightest idea what he had stolen? This ancient Nepalese kukri is basically the Excalibur of knives. Simply finding it isn't enough. You also need to know the special technique required to pull the weapon out of its sheath. After heavy rain hit the backyard of a Seattle homeowner, the water washed out some skulls. Fortunately, there's no terrifying story here. They were just stone decorations left behind by the previous owners. How goth of them. Now this is level 80 luck, finding treasure without even leaving your house. This woman discovered a 14-karat gold ring with a diamond hidden beneath the floor. It had been lying there for almost 100 years, and now we're probably never going to know whether someone lost it by accident or deliberately hid it there. This woman had no idea she had bought a house with both a hot tub and a swimming pool. That's because they were hidden underneath the living room floor. Now she can turn the space into a secret room or a cellar. How did an ordinary gardener become an archaeologist in a single day? He dug up a World War II grenade and then carried it straight to a police station to ask for help. It was definitely an unusual experience, but the man says he has absolutely no desire to repeat it. And next time, maybe call the police before picking it up. A group of workers in Florida hit the jackpot when they discovered 2,000 silver coins worth $10,000. And this didn't happen in Las Vegas. The coins came straight out of the wall of a house that was being demolished. Unfortunately, the workers weren't allowed to keep the treasure because it was declared property of the city. Ouch. UFO hunters would be dying of jealousy if they knew that a visitor from outer space had flown directly into an elderly couple's yard. Sure, it turned out to be nothing more than a piece of Samsung space equipment, but they're still going to have one amazing story to tell the neighbors for years. A hidden cache of 19 cannons was discovered along the Savannah River. They had sunk in 1779 during the American Revolutionary War and spent more than 240 years sitting underwater. Now, after all that time, they're finally heading to a museum. A man found a diary filled with strange numbers inside a secret desk drawer. People online are split between two theories. They're Grabovoi codes or the end is near. What do you think? The chances of finding an extremely rare Scythian sculpture in the middle of a field are incredibly slim, but never zero. A Ukrainian farmer uncovered one of only 3 known artifacts of its kind while planting crops. The sculpture dates back to the 6th or 5th century BCE. And just like that, the farmer found himself in the history books, literally. How about a game of 100-year-old bowling? Beneath the basement floor of an unassuming store in Canada, workers discovered bowling lanes, balls, and pins dating back to the 1920s. Some of the artifacts are going to a museum, while the old wood will be turned into furniture. A farmer in Indiana accidentally stumbled upon the remains of an ancient relative of the elephant, a mastodon more than 15,000 years old. And the remains were preserved so well that this discovery can honestly be called an archaeological jackpot. A Kentucky farmer harvested the most valuable crop of his life when he discovered more than 700 Civil War-era coins in a cornfield. Local residents had apparently buried them for safekeeping, and the treasure remained hidden there for around 160 years. Today, the collection is valued at more than $2 million. When you buy a house built in 1840, you might just discover a 5-meter well underneath it. Just make sure you don't also find a strange VHS tape lying nearby. This mammoth tusk spent 13,000 years buried underground before this man decided to dig a well. To be fair, it's only a fragment measuring 35 centimeters long and weighing 3 kilograms. This guy didn't trade away all his Pokemon cards in the schoolyard. He took the motto, "Gotta catch 'em all," seriously. 25 years later, he rediscovered his collection in the attic and got more than just a massive wave of nostalgia. The cards were now worth $40,000. Turns out, holding on to everything sometimes does pay off. The manager of a building in Hokkaido found an old 30-centimeter shell inside a storage room. Police sealed off the area, but fortunately, it turned out to be harmless. Still, that dude definitely walked away with a brand new phobia. This man found out that a propeller from a Cessna can fly another 1.5 kilometers on its own after separating from the plane when he found one in his grandmother's yard. That was about the distance away that the aircraft managed an almost successful emergency landing, if you don't count the propeller. Randa was shocked to find that her house had apparently been protected from evil spirits this whole time. Under the floor, she found a 200 to 250-year-old witch bottle. She handed the ritual vessel over to experts without opening it. After all, who knows what kind of potion could be inside? The year is 1416. America won't be discovered for almost another 80 years, but this house in Guingamp, France is already standing. Workers uncovered its unique free-lobed wooden window frames beneath a layer of concrete. The 600-year-old building was officially recognized as the oldest in Brittany, and testing showed that its oak beams were cut between 1411 and 1415. They certainly don't make them like they used to. This couple began removing an old hot tub and ended up uncovering a 100-year-old secret. They discovered a flooded chamber and a pipe measuring 2 meters in diameter that led towards the St. Clair River. It turned out that during the 1920s, smugglers used this secret tunnel to transport alcohol from Canada into the United States during Prohibition. I can't believe anyone had the nerve to cover up this incredible 300-year-old Delft tile. Now, this fireplace inside an authentic English home has finally been restored to its original appearance. Imagine walking into an abandoned mansion and finding a silent night waiting for you in the middle of the living room. The longer I look at this suit of armor, the more it feels like it's still guarding the place against unwanted visitors. This guy's metal detector must have been personally blessed by leprechauns. He actually managed to find a pot of gold in his own garden. At that point, you're legally required to check for a rainbow nearby. When Wayne invited his 3 friends to a cannon party, they probably weren't expecting to find the day excavating a 3-meter cannon weighing several tons. It had been buried 160 years earlier, back when Wayne's great-grandfather was still alive. But Wayne finally decided that the time had come to dig it up. Cleaning out the barn took these people pretty far back in time, all the way to 1944, which is when this German half-track motorcycle was built. Some routine yard work ended with an entire street being evacuated. A resident of Dartford dug up a massive World War II bomb. Fortunately, the bomb squad disposed of it quickly. What are the odds of finding a photograph of your own mother inside a house she had never even visited? That's exactly what happened to Casey Chapman. Beneath a floorboard in the mansion he bought in 2017, he discovered a newspaper from 1946, and inside was a photograph of his mother being crowned prom queen. Was it just one seriously strange coincidence, or some kind of greeting from the past? "Mom, I found a dinosaur," said a boy in Mississippi before actually bringing home a mastodon skull that could be up to 100,000 years old. He and his friends found the remains while they were playing in the backyard, probably playing archaeologists. This man thought the 250-kilogram barrel in his yard was just an ordinary piece of scrap metal. Then he took it to a scrapyard and learned that it was actually an 80-year-old naval mine. So, what's sitting out in your yard? A resident of Puerto Rico had quite the housewarming after discovering 2 old pieces of ammunition inside his new home. The FBI and bomb squad showed up right away, so at least there was no unplanned fireworks. A hurricane tore a 20-meter yacht away from its dock in Florida and carried it, no, not to the land of Oz, but directly into someone else's yard, where it sat for 6 months. The trip itself was free, but repairs and getting it back into the water cost the owner around $500,000. This guy found an old clay pot in the ground and immediately imagined there might be a genie inside. But it turned out to be filled with money, which is honestly a lot more reliable than a genie. Whoever lives in this house is probably impossible to surprise now that they found a 500-kilogram aerial bomb in their yard. The soft ground absorbed the force of the impact, preventing it from exploding. What Chris Scott assumed was a drain cover in his yard turned out to be a secret bunker from the 1940s. And not a small one either. It's 4 meters deep, has 2 rooms with enough space for up to 100 people, as well as electricity and a second exit. Unfortunately, the entire thing is flooded, but Chris is planning to restore it. You never know. Time stopped on this farm 30 years ago. An old hill map imp is still sitting in the garage, while nature has nearly swallowed the rare Austin 840 and Volkswagen Beetle parked outside. The house is still filled with interesting things as well, including books, records, and a piano. Judging by the diary entries, an elderly couple lived here and apparently moved away in a hurry, leaving everything behind. David Olsom accidentally discovered that his house was standing on bowling balls. During renovation, he pulled 160 of them out of the foundation, where they had been used in place of building materials. At this point, he could probably open his own bowling alley. While renovating her attic, a resident of Pekalongan in Tunisia discovered a hidden weapons cache containing a Belgian Bayard pistol and 2 grenades. The police are going to have to solve the mystery of where they came from. Want to make sure life never gets boring? Buy yourself a 150-year-old mansion. Over the course of 3 years, Ted and Robin have found all sorts of things throughout the massive 836 meters squared property: a Civil War era cane and pocket watch, books from 1907, a secret room inside a wall that had been completely filled with dirt, and even jars of 19th century silver coins beneath the floorboards. But the sweetest discovery was probably the family of raccoons living in the attic. The owner realized that 10 years wouldn't even be enough to find everything himself, so he started hosting metal detecting parties around the property. After all, who knows how many more secrets this mansion is still holding on to? Forgotten voices from the past are playing once again. 100 years later, these people found an old gramophone and records in an attic, and they still work. Amazing! The engine from a German Messerschmitt Bf 109 shot down over Plymouth in 1942 was actually found twice. It was first recovered from the seabed in 1982, but then the relic disappeared. It wasn't until 2019 that it was discovered again in a private collection. You go looking for Bigfoot in the middle of nowhere and end up finding an Alan Williams turret, a rotating dome-shaped bunker from the war. The opening at the top was used for anti-aircraft fire, while the entire structure could rotate to aim a machine gun. Oh, those grandpas' garages. This one had a Cessna T-50 inside, better known as the Bamboo Bomber. The plane was damaged in a flood 15 years earlier, and even though all the parts were nearby, including the original engine, apparently Grandpa never got around to repairing it. Utility work with a little extra adrenaline. Workers discovered a real artillery shell underground and immediately turned it over to the authorities. 13-year-old Auengas had an unusual hobby for a teenager, searching for airplane parts on his family's farm. His finds include an ejection seat and a cockpit. The reason is simple. There used to be an airbase near the farm, so there are still plenty of interesting things left in the ground. This story ended with 2 pieces of good news. The find was quickly handed over to professionals, and the RDG grenade itself turned out to no longer be dangerous. Help me out here. The creator of the video claims he just dug up a golden knife, but it looks so clean and new. Settle this in the comments, true or false? And if you ever find what looks like a cannonball, make sure you call in the bomb squad. It might actually be a mortar shell still packed with gunpowder. That's what this one turned out to be. An elderly neighbor told this guy there was treasure buried in his yard, so he decided to check. Instead, he found a skull and a strange safe with even stranger contents. So now this story has more questions than answers. One woman decided to remove a 100-year-old tree from her property and found bones tangled up in its roots. Now that's a twist. Whose bones are they? No one knows yet. We'll be waiting for an update. 99% of metal detector finds are trash, but that 1% makes all the previous disappointments worth it, like these coins from 1942 and 1954. A sheet of paper was hidden inside this old fireplace. But what could it be? A love letter? A will? Nope, it was paperwork from a 70-year-old court case. A grandson found an old portrait of his grandmother in the attic, and hidden inside it was money from Korea and China. Strange considering his Russian grandmother had never been there. Or maybe there are a few things her grandson doesn't know about her. Bundles of cash were discovered underground at a construction site in Uzbekistan. So far, no one knows whether it was somebody's secret stash or part of a criminal mystery. While searching the attic of their parents' house, these kids found a collection of rare coins and old banknotes. Among them was a 1919 National Bank of Tobacco note, along with coins dating back to the 1800s. Sure, many of the bills are only worth $1 or $2, but by today's standards, the collection could still be worth a fortune. Now that's an attic find! A collection of old antique pistols dating from 1876 through the first half of the 20th century. There are rumors that the owner may have had ties to legendary gangster Al Capone, but whether you believe them is up to you. Want to travel back in time? Start digging through Grandma's old trunks. These guys found a collection of rare vintage rugs in excellent condition, along with a gondola-shaped nightlight that was popular in the 1970s and 1980s. I know exactly what I'd like to find. Your like under this video and a few new subscribers. But what would you like to discover someday? Leave a comment, and until next time...